Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. It's your host, Mo Crosby. It's not a comic book show today. It's Star Trek Discovery, as the ticker says. If you can see the ticker at the bottom, Star Trek Discovery. Usually it'll be myself, Anthony, and Patrick, but Anthony and Patrick are not available today to do this, and you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. But I'm glad to have with me Stephanie, who was here for Picard, most of all of Picard.
All of Picard.
Yeah, all of Picard. And who else do we have here?
This is James.
Hi.
So go ahead, James. Thank you for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. We're here to talk Discovery. Discovery is one of our shows on Earth 2, by the way. We've covered all of it. We went to season 2's premiere in New York. We did Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con last year. Well, when we could go out, we did New York Comic-Con, and we met with the cast, and I personally love Discovery. I'm one of its biggest fans, if that even exists. But no, seriously, Discovery is one of my all-time, now I wouldn't say all-time favorite Star Trek shows, but because Enterprise does exist. Listen. I get that reaction all the time, but I don't, for the life of me, I can't understand why Enterprise is the Trek show that I connect with the most. But it is. I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. I'm sorry. Seriously, don't ask, because I personally don't even have the right words to be like, okay, this is why.
You're quite defensive.
No, it's because I get it all the time. As soon as I mention Enterprise or Archer is like my favorite captain, and it's like, how? But
the Enterprise has the best continuous storyline.
Yes, it does.
But it does not have a good contiguous relationship with the rest of Star Trek.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's where it loses a lot of its core, a lot of the core Star Trek fans. But for me, I think it was the first time watching Star Trek where I had this season-long narrative. Mm-hmm. As opposed to Star Trek is usually episodic, or maybe 2 episodes, at most 2 or 3 episodes. But it's the first time personally that I saw a season-long arc, and I think that's what it was. Ultimately, we're here to talk Discovery. So Discovery season 3, episode 1. Before we get into it, I'm gonna ask. So did you refresh before you got back into season 3? So you didn't go back and watch? We
got 5 minutes into the episode, and we were like, what is happening? So we paused it, and I read us a synopsis, and then we continued with the episode.
Okay, because I was gonna ask if you did do a refresh. Let's kind of refresh the list of viewers for a second. But I mean, it's personally, I've heard this word used a lot for Discovery season 3. Basically, from the episode 1, it's a reboot, a soft reboot of sorts. Do you feel that way?
Definitely, yeah. Okay,
so it's correcting the timeline, the plot holes from season 1 and 2. It's a little. It felt a little disjointed because you kind of don't know where it's going. Am I the only one that felt that way a little bit?
No, same. You don't know where it's going, and also you don't need to know where it came from. Honestly,
right? Because I think the first scene, or was it previously, or just the first scene was just what happened the last 5 minutes of episode.
Yeah, but it was also weird. The recap of last time on Discovery,
and it's just
2, it was 30% of the plot from season 2,
right?
And their own prep material. Left out most of what happened in season 2.
Right. They didn't. So I looked at it because I watched the episode twice. And it wasn't until the second watch that I started to notice a lot of the fact that this is not Discovery season 1 or 2, or it doesn't feel like Discovery season 1 or 2. Yeah. Other than that, so I guess we can get into it. So the episode is titled "That Hope Is You," I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's a 2-parter. So it's That Hope Is You Part 1. Did CBS drop 2 episodes at once? So it's always been one, just one episode all the way to the end of it.
I think it's always just one episode a week.
Okay, because I thought for a fact we're gonna get 2 episodes. This episode felt very light, but I kind of understand why, because it's a two-parter.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the rest of the story is on the second half of it. So before we get into it, what did you guys think of the episode in general? Don't go at once.
To me, it kind of felt like I thought it was an energetic, interesting storyline, but it felt a lot like a reboot of Andromeda. Like Andromeda's a ship that's trapped in a wormhole. 300 years later, pops out. Right. His entire organization is dead, just like Star Trek is dead. And then they move forward, and they're trying to like rebuild the Commonwealth in Andromeda. They're try and rebuild the Star Trek in
the Federation,
the Federation in Star Trek, and it's also a two-part beginning to that show as well. So we'll see what happens in the second one.
Right.
That was kind of one of my thoughts on it.
I complained for most of the episode. My running commentary was not favorable until like the last 5 minutes. So I think it's like, I do think it was engaging. Like the pacing was really good. Visually, it was entertaining. But I just had a lot of questions about like, why is this happening? Like, why is Michael okay with what's going on right now? So there are some things that I really liked about the episode, but I really need that part too.
Okay, so let's start there, Stephanie. What did you like? What
I'm super into space druids. Here for that. 100%. I really, I don't want to jump to the end of the episode, but the last 5 minutes, like I teared up, like 100%.
That was touching. It was touching.
For sure. And like as soon as she turned that corner and saw him sitting at that desk, I was like, oh, my heartstrings. Like, this is a man who's never, we don't know his story yet, but like, this is a man who's never seen a Starfleet officer. Like,
right.
This is exciting. It was very funny, right? Like, we laughed through the whole episode.
Okay.
Although it was kind of flirting with that, like, Avengers style of knee-jerk humor. And they're flirting with that line. So I hope they balance that well.
Pull it back a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. I'm super excited to interact with a galaxy that doesn't have the Federation. I think that's interesting. Not that I don't like the Federation, but I think that Star Trek Discovery is finally doing something new. Like season 3 is doing something new, which I'm here for.
Yeah, it's part of what made Picard an interesting show. Federation.
Yes.
Because it was operating outside of the Federation.
Yeah. All right, James, what did you like?
I liked seeing the kind of some of the races that we've never seen before, just kind of thrown out there, and kind of wondering what are they, what's going to happen with them, what's their motive, and also seeing races that we do know working in a very different realm with people they wouldn't normally work with.
Yeah.
Like the two buddy cops. It's just the weird interaction.
They were funny. They were hilarious. I love them. Yeah. So those are the things we did like, because yes, I did think the action was, really done. It was really well done. Yeah. Granted, there were some things about it that I with you, Stephanie, I was like, is she or isn't she? And then, I watched it again and I tried to give her an excuse as to why, she did that, or she was okay with it. I mean, she was zonked out of her mind. So let's just go with that for a second, right? Yeah. That's what they want us to believe, but I'm going to ask that, maybe in the future, in the next episode, that she, while they're trying to rebuild the Federation, that she kind of pulls back from that, or she doesn't go too far into that, right?
Yeah, and what you're talking about was how quickly she was on board with vaporizing people.
Yes.
In a context that she doesn't know who's good, she doesn't know who's bad, she doesn't know, like, the guy that she's vaporizing people with tricked her. Right.
Initially, yes.
Her, stole from her, and left her to die, and then she's suddenly on board with killing people with him. That does not scream Starfleet to me.
Right. So I'm hoping they kind of address that, even though I feel like they might not, because inside of that scene, or that action scene when they're introducing new tech, I also like the the portable transporter, but but I thought it kind of moved that it went too fast for me. I don't know if anyone thought that, but it was just snapping. I guess I get that they wanted the action to be super continuous and let's flow really quick. But I was like, okay, slow down a little bit, so we can get to actually enjoy the tech. But I guess we'll enjoy the tech later when they're not running for their lives, right? Yeah, you're right. She was really quick to turn around and kill people with someone who had just done her kind of dirty.
I feel like they tried to retroactively justify it by revealing that Book is actually like a good guy, right? Like he has good motives. Right. He's what his end goal is admirable, and so I feel like they're trying to just excuse it with that. Like the ends justify the means.
But he's still a dickhead, so
yeah.
It's just like it's. I'm watching it like, yeah, okay, so he's still. I guess that one punch to the nose did it. That was, like that. She's done. Like she's not mad anymore. She's not allowed to be upset. Like, no, you deserve more than the one or the two. I think she cracked him twice.
I think she cracked him 3 times. And to be honest, I hope that's a continuing theme throughout the whole season.
Right.
Yeah, like we can just like put a little hashtag marker in the top corner of the screen.
Like keep punching. Yeah. But no, I kind of want to. Okay, so I'm going to guess Book is going to be like a major character or a recurring character. So I kind of want to know his story, and is it going to be intermingled, or is he going to have some of his story, aside from dealing with Michael and whatnot? I'd like to see some. I'd like to see some of Book. I mean, I think he's okay. I'm not really complaining. I mean, we've only seen an hour of him, so I guess I'm a
little upset that they named him Book. We already have a reformed Black man in space who's doing good work coming out of a life of crime. Shepherd Book from Firefly. We don't need a second Book with the same archetype. Like, give him a different name.
Right. Okay, so since we're here, what didn't we like?
I did not like Book's name. I didn't like. We didn't like the vaporizing, which we already talked about. I understand that like it builds tension, but we know that the crew of Discovery does not take 300 years to arrive, right? Like that it might be hundreds of years before they show up because of time travel mechanics. Mm-hmm. But we know that that's not the case. So can you just give us the reason we love this show?
Right.
Michael is not why I love this show.
Saru
is why I love this show.
Tilly, yes, definitely.
Like, give me who I want.
Right.
I feel like they're going to show up in part 2, though.
Yeah, probably. What else did I complain about as the show was going on?
I feel like you were complaining during the teleporter scene firefight. I don't remember. Oh, that was about vaporizing.
Yeah, people vaporizing.
Mm.
I think it just took a long time for something that I care about to happen.
Right. And I'm guessing it was a thing at the end, right?
Well, yeah. So the first time I was like, okay, I'm now invested is when our space druid revealed the fact that he was a space druid.
Okay.
The summoning the plant to disinfect her arm. Mm-hmm. Here for that. But then, after that, I just
checked out again.
Yeah, okay. What didn't you like?
I don't know. My list is much shorter.
James is not as
critical
as I am.
Right.
I mean, the vaporizing people can be problematic, but also like they were attacking her with vaporizing weapons. So like that's where I'm a little like.
But
there should have been a freak out the first time they vaporized.
I think yes, she didn't. Okay, but this is where I'm with James, because she was high, like really high. Oh, she was on something.
Yeah.
And she did react when she shot. She was like, but I guess it wasn't like the reaction you wanted, like whoa, like I just killed somebody. It was more so like this is kind of cool. And then she turns right back into vaporizing people. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that, because I'm like, okay, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt for being like super high and super out of her mind, but she's also Starfleet, and she didn't because when Book says adrenaline is going to push this out in like a minute or whatever, when she came down all the way to the end, because I think before the space worm had swallowed her up, I think she was down. She was, and they still killed people right in that moment.
Yeah.
Or she was still okay with the fact, maybe they didn't kill anyone at that point. Maybe they didn't vaporize anyone, but the buddy cops, they vaporized the one dude that was chasing Book in the beginning, and she didn't seem to flinch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's also that aspect. This is where my less critical brain maybe, but there's also that aspect where she's like 900 years in the past, physiologically. So while a person of that age may push the drug out in a minute with adrenaline, she may not. She may not have adrenaline. She may not have.
Oh, because humans wouldn't have continued that micro evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Right. They would have, but she wouldn't have it.
She would. Yeah, she would still be trying to catch up.
Which they kind of allude to with the way that she respawns the first time, like right when they give her the drug, like they start to walk away because they're like, "Oh, this didn't.
It didn't take." Yeah.
That's a good catch. Yeah.
It was good. That was actually really good. I didn't think of it. And I watched it twice, but yeah, that was really good because it was a moment when she inhales it at first and she's like, what's going on? And they're like, it didn't work. And then it hits her super hard. And I'm guessing everyone kind of reacts different, or maybe everyone just hits really hard initially. And for her, it took a little bit of time to get to her. But that was good. Space Worm. Did you care? Did you not?
I was into the furthering of the, space druid narrative. Like every good druid needs a beast companion.
He has a cat.
He's got 2 beast companions.
Right.
Like the worm was as endangered as we were led to believe.
Because it was like a
But I think that colony is the last colony that exists.
Could be.
And you only see like 4.
Right. He did say it's mating season, so I'm guessing if they were all males and he had to get her, if she was so I'm guessing she was the last female, and so that he had to get her there. So I'll give him that. I think I'll give them that.
But also you have to want like what counts as endangered on Earth, which is our context of an endangered species, is going to be very different when you think about what makes something endangered on a galactic scale.
True. Because I think season 1, the tardigrade was endangered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by the end of season 1, when they had to let it go, it was because it was inhumane or some other things. And I'm guessing I haven't seen season 1 in super long.
I think they determined it was it was painful for the
painful. Yeah, it was inhumane. Yeah.
So they let him go and then just did it to a human instead.
Right.
That's humane.
I mean, it was a war. You had to win the war. Sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Justify the means here.
Right. What else did happen? Okay, so this is my theory, right? James, you alluded to the fact that Discovery might come back in the next episode. I'm going to say I don't think they do. Hear me out. I think, like Stephanie said, you don't want them to drag it out, but I think they're going to drag this out a little bit, like drag it out 1 more episode, maybe even 2, because they want to expand Michael's story a little bit, and Michael, they want to expand both stories. I know, but that's what it seems like to me, because I think I don't know if you watched the on the next this season on. Okay, so I always watch the post, the little ads they do or the little promos they run, and now she has braids, like really long braids, and it takes a while, I'm guessing, for her to grow that before they meet Discovery. So I'm thinking.
You don't think they have weaves in the future?
I'm thinking Michael Burnham grew hers. I'm thinking no, but I think just for the fun. This is me just speculating, anyways. But I think just for the fun of it, and I don't know why I tied it into the hair, because you're right. They probably do have like super long hybrid weave that laces itself up and braids itself.
How long are her braids?
They were long. They were super long.
No, I mean, I'm not an expert in
It looked
black
like it
hair,
was-
but I anticipate like natural hair growing that long would be like 10 years.
But you can also do that in a montage sequence, right?
No, for sure. I mean, we could definitely, the braids are, whenever somebody changes their hair dramatically in TV, it's to indicate that time has passed.
Time has passed, yeah.
Or like an emotional upheaval has just happened.
Right.
But if hair gets longer, it means time has passed.
Time has passed.
I'm okay with time passing if I don't have to experience it.
So you're saying you're okay with if time passes and we get like a short montage in the first half of the second episode, and then Discovery comes in at the end, because that could very much be it. We get it's about an hour, or it's about 50 minutes, right? We get 45 minutes of straight Michael Burnham, and then the last 5 minutes is Discovery plunging itself into the timeline. That's what could happen. I mean, you're still gonna get Discovery in the second episode.
It's not. If we're establishing a pattern of I only care about the last 5 minutes of each episode, I don't know how long I'm gonna last.
Oh man, you have to come back for all of the episodes just to talk about the last 5 minutes. I will agree with you. The last 5 minutes of this episode really had me, and I'm like, wow, because he's like, it's been 40 years, like my dad, his dad and my dad, and now it's me, and I'm not even an official officer, and then it was a lot. Like seeing Michael like and him interact, I feel like, okay, true believers, I get it. They but I think that was the catch for this episode. Like that's how they get you to come back. It's like, okay, so now what? Yeah. So
I liked in that scene how it changed Book's perspective on the quote unquote true believers.
Right.
Early in the episode, he just writes them off as fanatic, crazy people, and then he witnesses this really touching, enduring scene between two true believers, and like he doesn't say anything, but you can tell that like he understands now that something bigger than he understood is happening.
Right. That was good. That was really good. Speculations on the next episode, or actually, let's not speculate the next episode. What do you think happens when they just when it comes to like, what do you think happened? What do you think the burn was? I mean, they did tell us it was dilithium, whatever, being unstable. But like, I feel like in all of Trek, you could have dealt with that at some point.
Well, don't they? I mean, I feel like it's a part of why warp core reactors they require such high level engineers is because they are unstable, they are extremely volatile, and when you see starships explode, it's because the dilithium in the warp core has started to falter and then it explodes. So I feel like they've slowly been laying that groundwork over the last 20 years. And Discovery took advantage of that. I don't know what a catalyst would be for like all of the dilithium everywhere exploding.
Right.
A little strange.
But he did say when Michael met the guy, he did say he had 2 ships in a squadron.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still 2 I don't know what class ships they are, but there's still 2 Federation ships out there.
Yeah.
Shuttlecraft.
You think they're shuttlecraft?
Possibly. I mean, they require? No, they don't. They don't require dilithium. Or if they did, they would.
Some shuttlecraft are warp capable, but not all of them.
Right. So, shoot.
Oh, so yeah, there was another thing that I was really confused about with Michael's reaction. Is like, first I totally understand like hearing that the Federation has collapsed would be upsetting, right? For sure, that would be an emotional thing. But she treats it like that's impossible. Like there's no reason that the Federation would ever become obsolete, which to some extent was kind of always the Federation's goal, right? Like whenever like what is that word? Whenever an organization that has good intentions is doing work, like I work with homeless people, the goal is to put ourselves out of a job, right?
Right.
Create a society in which there are no longer homeless people, which means I have to find a new career. The Federation is the same thing. They're attempting to create a galaxy that is peaceful and reasonable to the point where you don't need an established organization anymore. And how did it not occur to her that you're jumping 900 years in the future and the Federation might not exist anymore? Like you just came out of like deadly evidence that Starfleet is corrupt. And you think that like that corruption is going to disappear?
Was it her or that was? I think that's Picard, where it's Starfleet, the way they actually show a lot of corruption.
31 is responsible for control.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, but she killed Control, so she thinks she's undone all that.
Right. But like the seed of corruption is there. It's not going to just disappear.
But that Starfleet believes that
it's the arrogance of Federation thinking that no one can do it better. We will never. Anyway, it was just a weird point for me how much attention was given to her reaction to the Federation being gone.
My thought on your question, sorry,
about
the dilithium is, in the back of my mind, is Control really dead? Like,
that's the thing that came up. Is Control really gone? Because
did somebody blow up all the dilithium to try and stop Control 120 years ago or whatever it was?
Right. So it's going to be interesting seeing what caused it or how it came about. I think that's my catch for this season. That's why I'm here, because I'm not a fan of the Federation. But you know, that aside, that's the exact reason I love Picard, because I was like, screw the Federation. But because I also think that's really what made Picard work, was the fact that the highest Starfleet ex-Starfleet officer had to literally see it for himself. Because I think if Picard was still in, a member or a part of the Federation, he wouldn't believe it. You know, he had to see it from the outside looking in, and I think that's really what excited me about it.
Yeah.
But I think I want to agree with James. I don't think it's gone. I don't think Control is all the way gone, because it's too easy.
Yeah. It might not be Control as we saw it in season 2.
It might.
But Section 31 is still up to hijinks.
Right. Aren't they getting a show?
Yeah, they are getting a show.
Right. So that'll be fun to see.
Which is so weird. Can we talk about that for a second?
Go ahead.
Why do we need Section 31? Are we taking propaganda to fiction now? Like, why do we need that?
There's so many cop shows, first of all, so I'm not even like gonna hold you there.
I don't need Section 31 to become endearing. I don't need to know their origin story to have compassion about the fact that they fell off the bandwagon of morality. I don't care. Okay, rant over.
Right. I am super excited that Michelle Yeoh is going to be back, and that she's here on this show and not on Section 31, because I don't think I love her. I don't think I'd have watched Section 31 like super excited if she was on that show. I mean, I'd watch it because she's on the show, but I'd be like, why are you here? But she's on Discovery, so I'm okay with that. So I'm excited to see how she interacts with this new world, because again, we have to acknowledge that she's still Mirror Georgia.
Yeah.
She's still Mirror. Is it Mirror? Yeah, the Mirror Universe version of Georgia. So I still want to see how she reacts to this new world where there's no Starfleet, there's no Federation. Does she go full Mirror? Because she's been, in season 2, she had to join Section 31 to go to really live up to herself. And then at the end, she was like, "Oh my God, Michael, you're still kind of my daughter, and I still like love you." And I'm like, oh, man, just be bad.
I think that if she doesn't, right? So I feel like what we've seen about Georgiou, Mirror or otherwise, is that she takes advantage of the situation to its fullest extent. And I feel like that's why she joined 31. That's why she did what she did with the Klingons. Like she shows up in a situation, she evaluates how she can gain the most from it, and then she goes hard after that thing.
Yes.
And if she shows up to 900 years in the future and does not do the same thing, I might write a letter.
No, seriously. Add me to that. CC me, because seriously, I just need her to like go full. Like I need her to go full Mirror, even if she doesn't go full Mirror for like 2-3 episodes, like just one. Yeah. Just have her go.
To bring whatever. What was the name of the government in season 2 in the Mirror universe? She needs to try to reinstate that in this universe, and then become
that would be fun to watch, just to see her like interact with this world. I mean, obviously Saru. We don't know if his I think his civilization does survive, right? In season 2, because they evolve and they become the predator, the actual predator was supposed to be. Yeah. I want to see if we get more. If we do visit, like if he's still out there, because for all we know, or season 1, Anthony used to call him Space Cow. Like that's literally what he was. No offense to any vegans that are watching, but it was funny. Like the whole entire season, Anthony called him food until we got to season 2, and we realized that they were only that way because they were subjugated. And
I want to see his race have reached Klingon status in the
Yo.
900 years since the evolution was unlocked.
Right.
That would be phenomenal. Like, we have a new badass warrior race that puts Klingons to shame. I'm here for that.
Mm-hmm. That would be super fun. Who else would you like to see, or what else would you like to see an evolved form of?
Can you hear our rabbits chewing cardboard? Sorry.
Yes, it's fine. Everyone can hear them.
I'm going to take that thing away from him.
Evolved. I'm trying to think. I feel like there were some good races on Enterprise we haven't seen.
I want to see what's up with Trills.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see how that symbiotic relationship has evolved over the last 1,000 years. Because we don't really see Trills in Discovery.
No, we don't.
Well, because that's right? That's pre them joining the Federation.
Right.
But, right, because like DS9 cast some questionable lights on the future of Trill with the number of symbionts that were available and the fact that they were lying about how much of the population was eligible to host a symbiote. So did they like erupt in civil war because other people eventually realized that? Like,
there's potential for a lot of good races too with 900 years in the future. Everything that we saw on Voyager could be in this quadrant as well now. Like there could have been a lot of intermingling of species across the quadrants in 900 years.
I am still confused. I've always had this question about Star Trek. I particularly don't understand why it's happening in future Star Trek, of why humans have such distinct accents and races. I don't get it.
You're right, because everyone should have the same.
Yeah, if everything's been globalized, I mean, sure, there's still going to be minor, dialects and regional stuff, but
you're having like full-on accents, like a Brit accent. Book
so
isn't Book like Brit? Yeah, he's Brit. Yeah, he's very Brit. Yeah.
Wait, is Book human? I don't know that Book is human.
We don't know that. Right. But that's the only humanoid that she's interacted with so far.
Besides the Starfleet guy.
Yes, and he did have an accent, and yes. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for being
he grew up in isolation.
Yeah, so he was born up and grew up in isolation, so I guess he can get that.
I do also, just real quick, I love that we did not see, at least I don't recall seeing a single white human.
Yes.
All the humanoids that we interacted with were of color.
Yes.
And I loved that Michael, a black woman, showed up in the future and the first person she met was a black man.
Right.
Like, I think it's like
even though she ran him over
on the colonizer, because Federation is they are colonizers. They are, and so I just like that subverting of that. Of
right.
This woman of color in the future shows up, and it's her color is what she sees when she arrives in the future.
Kind of makes her
that's
super
black
comfortable.
Futurism, right? Like that's the promise of a black future.
Right. So it's gonna be there. So Discovery's gonna come in, and whenever Discovery comes in, Discovery's an antique at this point. Like did you see? So Booker's ship was the only other one we saw, right? We didn't necessarily see another.
Whatever ship he was fighting as well.
Did we see it, or
we saw it in a couple action shots, but then
then they never showed it again.
Of what I thought was Discovery,
but and they never.
They definitely made that confusing in the beginning.
I loved it because I'm like, are they here? And I was with her, and then it's like,
did it all just immediately go to shit? What happened?
Right. That would have been really awesome if that was it. Like, not everyone dead, but like at least hurt or something. That'd been great. That'd been great to see. But I'm also super excited to see, because I think what's her name, Jet is also here. Jet came with them, the engineer from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I loved her character.
Yeah,
I love her.
Great.
I love her interacting with Stamets because I think that's who.
Yep.
She goes.
And she's in the trailer, so.
Yeah, so she'll be good. I wanted more of her, and I'm so glad they kept her for however they did it. I'm so glad they did that. But I am excited to see where they go moving forward. I am excited to see how they build, the rest of the season out. Again, it's a two-parter, so I'm not super hard on it like I was. Well, I should be, because I think it was very light on everything. But I guess they're just trying to show us the world, show us the tech, show us the new blasters that vaporize people,
that don't come with a stun setting.
Right. Seriously, I would have expected Michael to be like, "Oh no!"
I wonder how many people have like lost their feet accidentally.
and she steals the dilithium, and
right, another interesting move for a Federation officer.
She literally runs in and steals dilithium.
She doesn't just steal enough, right? Like Brooke makes it clear you just need one shard for each trip. She takes everything on the counter.
She's high, so she was super high. Like whatever they gave her, whatever true serum they gave her, she was super high. So I guess that's what it was. But no, honestly, it was the action. I think is the biggest sell for this episode. I hope it's not the biggest sell for the season, because I think what I've always liked about Discovery is how they over-explain stuff sometimes, because they do. Season 2 was just
awful.
Over-explaining. They literally over-explained everything. But what I did like was when she got there. One thing I really, really liked was when she got there. How they kind of tied it back into Season 2 was when she sent her...
Hold on. I just noticed in the scrolling bar that you spelled ridiculous wrong.
Oh, crap. Well, that is ridiculous. So, see, I don't have my glasses. I'm typing this out.
You forgot the O. That's okay. Continue with your thing.
You know what? I'll put that in the description. Wow, the show's going on for so long. I'm sorry. Because I did this right before the show started. I'm like, yeah, we're ready to go. And I'm like, I'm so excited. And we're going to talk Discovery and everything. Oh, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. And just so we're on it, if you want to find James, he's at JF Slicer, SLICER.
Okay, great. I'll add that. You know what? Do you want to say something while I'm fixing this? Yeah, you take over for a second. Let me fix this.
What were we talking about before?
No, I was talking about how when she landed and she asked the suit where she was and how long she had to close the breach, and she sent the suit back because she told Spock she was going to send him a signal. Yeah. I was like, at least they didn't forget that, because again, if they're trying to move away from everything that has happened, they didn't forget the last thing. At least make it neat, tied up in a bow. And I think they did that. Really neat. And so I really liked that. She did that, and I was like, okay, great. Now we can move forward. So I'm guessing they're literally done.
I would assume so. Yeah.
So it's a soft reboot, but I think I should enjoy it, and hopefully. So, do you want it to be a season-long story, or do you want them to give us 2 episodes? Like, give us. You can do the season-long story, but give us like adventures every episode.
I feel like it's going to be Andromeda. It's going to be a season-long thing of rebuilding the Federation, but there's going to be adventures
episodic along the way
that are more episodic. Yeah, which would be like a kind of a turn in the way Discovery's been written so far. But
I'd be happy with a blend.
Yeah.
There's a lot, which I know is something that Patrick really wanted to get back to, was the
exploring
the universe. And we love you, Patrick. Exploring the universe and like seeing new things and having adventures and hijinks. And I think the tone of the first episode sets the stage for that. It's funny. Like there's a lot of humor in it. And so I hope they carry that of like, let's interact with this ridiculous aspect of the world within the backdrop of what's going on with the Federation long term.
They're going to have to hunt down those 2 ships at some point, right?
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to interact with the 2 ships. And I feel like they set the stage for rebuilding the communications network, right? Because Michael was so shocked that he couldn't talk to anyone outside of the sector. Right. Like I'm 900 years in the future and the communication technology is worse. Like that's dumb. So hopefully she figures that out.
The network sucks.
There you go.
Yes. Yes. We are not 900 years in the future. We're in the present. And I fixed it.
Good job.
There we go. So yeah, no. I'm with you. I'm with you on. I hope the communication is array, and they have to find those two ships. Wouldn't it be? I hope it's not. I really do hope it's not like transporter vessels. That would kind of be a bummer. Like that would be a bummer. Like, wait a minute, this is it. Like, but it would be interesting to find. Would they be Starfleet, ex-Starfleet officers? Would they be Starfleet officers, or would they just be probably pirates?
I would anticipate that there's going to be a spectrum, right? There's going to be a spectrum of people who are the true believers, who are trying to continue on the mission of the Federation. And then there are going to be people who have Federation technology and resources that have just embraced that the Federation is a thing of the past and are moving forward as best as they know how.
That was my thought as well, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Nice balance. Anything else you want to add for episode 1? The Hope Is You? Part 1. I'm gonna add that part.
I miss Spock. I wish he could have gone.
Right. Then there'd be no TO. There'd be no.
I know that would destroy everything else.
Oh my God.
Canon. But what Ethan Peck's Spock was perfect.
But can you imagine if they did that? Do you understand how the trolls and people who don't like this show would be? Oh my God! That would be the perfect. That would be like a perfect haha. I know you don't like the show, but check us out now. We just did something super crazy.
Yeah.
People would riot. I really think that people would break everything and just for this, but that would have been fun. It would have been fun to see the world would go up in flames because Star Trek.
Are they doing a Pike show? Are they?
Yes, they are doing a Pike show. So I'm guessing Spock maybe is on there for a season. Or
so. It would suck to highlight Ethan Peck and then not do anything with him again.
Because he was
his first officer.
No, the first officer is the first officer.
Number 1.
Number 1 is the first officer. He's the science officer.
He's the science officer for that vessel or for Enterprise. And then, wow, it would be fun to see who they do cast as a JT Kirk. That'd be interesting to see if they if they interact at all. In there. That'd be fun.
Pull in the movie actor.
Chris Pine?
Yeah. They're not going to do that.
I don't think they have enough money for that.
I don't want them to do that, but...
What? You hate the Kelvin timeline? Because I
don't hate it. I think that Star Trek reboot movie, what I don't remember what year it came out in, is incredibly entertaining. I've watched that movie easily over 20 times. Oh. But it's not canon anymore. I mean, it's canon, but it's alternative, so it's not really comparable to everything else going on.
It was fun. It was really fun. It was super a lot entertaining. Of fun. And then they did Into Darkness and killed everything. But never going to talk about that ever. No one talks about Into Darkness. It never happened. That's the one where Discovery fixed that for us. It never happened. But thank you, James. Thank you, Stephanie. Hopefully, James, you can come back again and join us for another episode. It'd be fun to have you on. It was fun to have you today. Stephanie, I think you'll be back for another episode. Please say yes.
I will.
Thank you very much. So Thursdays, right? It's a Thursday show. We do our reviews on the weekend where we can watch it a couple times and get to soak it in.
You might be the only one who watches it more than once.
I really did. I watched it. I think I watched it at midnight because
you did that with Picard too.
Yes, Picard was so much fun. And then you had, what's his name? Choose to Live? Really? That's the coolest Star Trek line ever. Okay. That's so cool. Choose to live. Or was it? Yeah, choose to live. Please choose life. And he'd still beg you before he kills you. Come on now. That's super cool in my book.
They did him dirty.
They did. I can't wait to do more Star Trek shows with you. Picard and all the other ones coming up. Oh, did you guys watch Lower Decks?
We watched the first episode and didn't vibe.
Oh no. Okay, it ended really well. As you can see,
Is it worth powering through?
Yes, some of the people who didn't like it, I'm not mentioning any names, love it now. Okay, oh my God, Lower Decks was so good at the end. I'm like, really? Really? You didn't give it a chance. And
spill the tea. Spill the tea.
Listen, no, actually, yes, I will. They didn't give it a chance. For 4 episodes, we heard nothing but, oh my God, this show sucks. For 4 straight episodes. And then by episode 5, it's like, wait a minute. And then at the end, this might be my favorite Star Trek show, modern Trek. Seriously, that was...
I don't know if that entices me to watch it or makes me want to write it off.
No, but the person said, this might be my favorite modern Trek show. Those were his exact words. Yes, obviously, because he doesn't like the other 2, but yeah. So, but no, I thought it was pretty funny and I thought it was pretty good. Riker does show 10.
Okay, and they're half an hour episodes.
Yeah,
right?
half an hour episodes. Really quick. Yeah, super quick to get through. Probably 25 minutes because
What else are we gonna do in the middle of quarantine?
You crochet stuff.
Always.
Right. Thank you again for Tyrion.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Hopefully we get you guys again next week. Hopefully Patrick does come next week because he'll be fun to have on.
Yeah.
With his
I would really like to see James and Patrick argue about Star Trek.
Oh, that should be fun. That
we did
so much fun.
Yeah. Just for context, James and Patrick worked together for
please drop Patrick
years. 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Please next time, like when you're on here, if Patrick isn't on out, can you drop some Patrick knowledge, like some Patrick tea?
Ooh, some juicy
some juicy Patrick tea. That would be funny. That would
be a great way to incentivize him to join the podcast.
To join,
every
right?
episode you don't join, James will drop an embarrassing story.
Yes, I hope he sees this. Patrick, I hope you're watching this. Because for every episode you don't come on, James is going to spill some juicy stuff.
We do have some juicy stuff,
Ooh.
Patrick. You better tune in.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks again. We'll catch you on the next episode. Have a good day.